The 2023-24 season is officially over, which means we are now entering transfer season. And although it still hurts that we didn't win the Premier League, I think you guys deserve a video talking about what I think Arsenal should do this summer and the transfers we need to be looking at to finally topple Manchester City. But before I begin, I have got something exciting. If you really enjoy my videos and you want to see them sooner, or you just want to be a member of this channel to help me out, I've now started a membership thing. There's a link down in the description if you want to join, and if you do, thanks in advance. But let's start, and I think the position I want to start with is going to be the defence. Of course, Saliba and Gabriel have an unbelievable record this season, the best defence with David Raya behind them. But I think we need to add a bit more quality in depth in those defensive areas, because I think the workload that Saliba had was just way too much. And Gabriel as well, I feel like one injury to them was going to be detrimental to our season. We already saw it the season before, and we're just really lucky that Saliba managed to stay fit for as long as he did, and Gabriel as well. Anyway, the player I would bring is Ousmane Diamonde from Sporting Lisbon. 20 years old, so young, but he's the most perfect Saliba backup rotation, whatever you want to call it. I've made a video on him before. He's basically known as the Ivorian John Stones. The way he can cover the whole back line, the way he can step into midfield, his progressive passing, his physical attributes are at a high level. And we've been following him for such a long time. Even when he was at Midfield, Arteta's always been a big fan of this guy. And I think whatever the fee, I think it's around 60 million, 50 million. It's a lot of money, but it is definitely worth it. We need quality at the back. You know, Manchester City, 70 million on a backup Gvardiol, 60 million on Diaz. You know, there's a lot of money being spent by them on these central defenders, and it's a really important position. We cannot have Saliba playing so many minutes like he has this season. And I think Ousmane Diamonde would be one of my first acquisitions. Can play comfortably across the back line, left back, centre back, other centre back, right back, in midfield if necessary. You know, he's basically a weapon, a perfect Arteta centre half, and I wouldn't be surprised if we go in for him because he is a top quality centre half. So yes, that's my first addition into the squad, Ousmane Diamonde from Sporting Lisbon for around £60 million. I'm going to try and not talk about outgoings. I'm just going to firmly focus this video on incomings, and I think João Hato will be the perfect Zinchenko replacement, and he's got the ability to play left back and centre half. Around 35 million, we're heavily linked with him. I would definitely bring him in on top of Diamonde, and you've basically got this centre half stroke right back, full back, left back sort of duo for the rest of the Arteta reign. 18 years old, really quick, a leader, the perfect Arteta sort of profile. I'm not going to spend too much talking on him. I made a video of him a couple of days ago. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But he is a quality centre half / left back. Comfortably can come into midfield if needed, but can also play wide and be really defensive. So he gives us that versatility in our defensive phases, which is crucial for us. And I think for that 35 million, it's definitely going to be worth it. We've got Jurien Timber on the right, then you've got Hato on the left. Similar profiles, but offer stuff on different sides of the pitch. So João Hato, you're coming in for 35 million. That's now 75 million spent on centre halves, which is very necessary. So Zinchenko out, Kiwior out. I'm going to dwell too much on that, but I will mention if a player would be sold for these players to come in. Next up, a backup goalkeeper. Obviously, likely that Ramsdale is going to leave. And also, I've already scouted a couple of goalkeepers, but they want to get someone who's homegrown and preferably a bit more experienced. And I think Jason Steele is probably our number one target, and I'll just bring him in, to be honest. I'm not too bothered about who the backup goalkeeper is, because our number one will always be Raya. But Jason's still very good with his feet, homegrown. You know, he'd definitely prefer to come to Arsenal and be a backup goalkeeper here than at Brighton. So yes, signing number 3, Jason Steele. Now onto the fun part, the midfield. Jorginho signed a new contract, is staying. So I think now that really changes our midfield targets, and these are the players that I think we definitely need to get in to make our midfield a lot better next season. Number 1, Bruno Guimaraes. Absolute no-brainer for me. I know he has a 100 million release clause, but it seems like Newcastle are willing to negotiate on that and kind of accepted defeat that they're going to lose him. And I think he's the perfect left 8 option for us. Defensively fantastic, has the attacking ability, I think, is out of this world, really. If you watch him closely, such a good player in those attacking phases too. He'll offer something really nice next to Declan Rice We can form double pivots. We can play Bruno a bit higher. We can play Rice higher with Bruno sitting. It gives us so much versatility in those attacking and defensive phases of play. I know a lot of people won't be happy with this, but I think he's definitely what we need. And unfortunately, he may be a bit of an annoying opposition player, but we definitely would love to have him being annoying in our team with his technical ability on top of that. And a lot of experience as well. 26 years old. Sometimes we often ignore that. We need to now get those players who are basically in their prime. And Bruno Guimaraes he wants to play Champions League season on season. He wants to challenge for the Premier League title. And what better club than Arsenal right now for him? There's rumours going around from really reliable sources that he is open to joining Arsenal. So personal terms would not be an issue. So for 80 million, I think around that 75 million, it is definitely worth it. So Bruno Guimaraes, I forgot that I actually did say how much Steele would cost. I'd say around 10-12 million. So that's 12 million on Steele, 75 million odd on Bruno Guimaraes, 60 million on Ousmane Diamonde, and around 35 million on João Hato. So already really busy from my point of view if we want to really improve. Next up, Amadou Onana. I know 80 million on Guimaraes is already a lot of money, but I feel like Thomas Partey is going to leave, freeing up a lot of wage space. And then also Smith Rowe or Vieira, one of them I definitely do think will leave the club. So there'll be a lot of money coming in, and I think we need somebody to play as like a rotation option to Declan Rice, or in that 8 option as a rotation to Bruno Guimaraes. I think Onana is perfect for that. He hasn't played a lot for Everton. He's essentially a backup there. So I feel like he'd want to make the move to Arsenal where he would play a lot more. And if you actually watched our game against Everton, he was unreal. I know we were focusing on the title fight, so we weren't really looking at his performance, but the addition he put up was out of this world. So much athleticism. His legs are so long. He just gets the ball and tackles the ball with so much ease. And he absolutely sent Thomas Partey for an absolute hot dog in that game as well. So I think there's a lot of quality to work with. And who else but Mikel Arteta to bring out that potential we all know he has. So I think Everton will demand around 40 million, not too much, because his value is decreasing every time he's on that bench. And I do think he's someone we might go for in the summer, definitely as a proper target. He's the kind of Arteta physical midfielder, and he can play 8 and 6. So perfect. So yes, Amadou Onana, signing number 5. Now on to the next signing. I know you guys have probably been waiting for when I was going to talk about the striker and attacking positions, of course, the most exciting areas of the pitch. But my signing would be Victor Gyökeres. I've already told you guys I'm really impressed with how good he is as a number 9. Sort of Arteta centre forward with brilliant ball striking, brilliant hold-up play, brilliant technical ability as well. He will fit that number 9 role really well. Would I say it's a priority signing? I don't know. I do think 75 million is too much money, and I would actually persist with Havertz. But if it does come to it, Victor Gyökeres for 80 million wouldn't be a bad signing. He's got like 40 odd goals and assists combined this season. Those are Ballon d'Or numbers. So bringing him into the club wouldn't be a negative at all. I would definitely welcome him in. And he would provide some really good competition with Kai Havertz for that number 9 position. But of course, I do think that would mean Gabriel Jesus has got to go. I've just noticed that this list of signings is quite long. But it's definitely doable if you want to reach that Manchester City level. We definitely need a rejig. We need those fringe players like the Nelsons. They've got to go now, unfortunately. We've got to get these world beaters with so much quality. Victor Gyökeres is definitely that sort of guy for the number 9 role. So I'd bring him in, 80 million. And yeah, signing number 6 is Victor Gyökeres. Finally, the last signing I would get is Nico Williams. Absolute baller, left foot, right foot. Brilliant. We need some more options on the wing. Saka is brilliant, but he needs a bit more rest. And Nico Williams can play on the right and the left. And of course, he can play on the left where Martinelli is and Trossard is. And I think he's probably better than them. On a 1v1 basis, Nico Williams absolutely destroys his fullback any day of the week. And he's only going to be like 50 million. That release clause is so cheap, but the wages he may demand are really expensive. But if you want to be the best, you've got to take these risks and bring in these sort of players. Of course, he's really young, I think around 21 years old. So there's just so much quality and potential with him, and Arteta would definitely bring the best out of him. So I'd put Nico Williams as the final signing in this mega rebuild to try and bridge that gap with Manchester City. And I think this team would get minimum 100 points. I do think so. I feel like we would get that 100 points that City side got in the 17-18 season, or around high mid-90s. I really think this team is capable of that. And I hope we do have a really good window. You know, bringing in, let's start from the beginning, Ousmane Diamonde, Jorel Heito, Bruno Guimaraes, Onana, Williams, and of course a backup goalkeeper. I just put Steele in because he seems to be the most linked. But yeah, just a competent backup keeper, and all those players that I've mentioned today, even if we didn't get them all, they would all really help us to bridging that gap with City. Maybe over 2 seasons that this window would make more sense. It would be a bit difficult to do all of this in one summer. But there you go. That's it for now, Gunners. Hope you've enjoyed. If you have, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, turn on those notifications. And of course, my membership is down in the description if you want to see these videos quicker than everyone else, or just want to support the channel. So without further ado, peace and see you guys next time.